is that in today's context, uh, are there certain qualities, values that, as I would say, a typical development professional would, need to have or imbibe to really succeed over a period of time and stay invested in this work over a period of time? Do you think there's something that a developed professional would require?
Well, one thing which is absolutely certain is for all professionals to examine their own motivation. What is it that, because this sector is certainly unique, but for every individual joining, it's for them to examine what brings them to this, because the sector has a lot that doesn't work for it. There could be economic uncertainty, there could be very, very tough conditions of work, there could be stubbornly persistent problems, lots of setbacks, and therefore there is clarity. There is need for clarity on what motivates the specific individual, and very often that's a personal journey. And the personal journey might also, in fact, take them so far as to say, is there any values that they hold individually as core to them as human beings? And how best are those values expressed? And sometimes this is not only for resilience, not only that they stay the course as professionals, but eventually it will also help make them more effective in expressing themselves. More than anything else, it's not just a job, it is about expressing themselves. And if they feel they are not expressing something meaningful, then they should have the opportunity to step out. It's much better to do that early in your career than not. But it will also make you far more effective, and it will also give you the depth to be able to absorb setbacks and stuff like that. So I would really suggest, I mean, all of us have to do it. I do not say it as by no means, that people are successful or not, but we all need to be mindful of that. The second big issue is, in fact, to revisit how they define development. Different people define development differently. Some people look at development as sets of measurable outcomes. Some people look at development more in structural terms, and which becomes much more difficult to measure, and therefore much more difficult to attract funding, and much more difficult for yourself to be able to inspire and motivate yourself. But very often, suppose you're working on patriarchy, or you're working on the concentration of political power, or in cultural terms you're looking at a certain hegemony of a certain narrative, and you're trying to push back against that. And that, at least in my personal view, is fundamental to any of the development challenges that we look at. So what is it? I mean, so for every individual, they need to define precisely where they are. For example, if you're looking at even purely economic outcomes, are you looking at just as at an increase in incomes? Are you looking at an increase in income plus a lower risk? Are you looking at increase in income plus lower risk plus sustainability? Are you looking at increase in income plus lower risk plus sustainability plus agency? They're very different things. Very often you might see a lot of NGOs going out and pushing technologies options that saying, "Nahi, isse aapka income badhega," without realizing that they're actually transforming those farmers who were earlier autonomous in terms of decision making to become totally dependent on you. So, the process also gets determined by saying, okay, what are the outcomes that you seek? And you can go on. I mean, are you actually saying that when you're talking about economic outcomes, are you also simultaneously looking at the gender divide? Are you also looking at the divide, say, between an Oraon and an Asur, who may also be part of the same institution? Some of them may pick up your messages faster, some may not. So how do you define at the end what are the change that you want is something that's very, very important. Because that then over time would make your own intervention much more meaningful. Now, these are constant issues that we need to think about. Not only do they help us define our interventions better, they also help us anticipate challenges. Now, if you define something as win-win, and you say, look, there's not going to be any opposition from any vested interest, it's going to be smooth passage, and it actually turns out to be a zero. In a lot of market interventions, that is true, because you empower 50 tribal women to sell their produce at a higher price. You're hurting somebody else who's making that higher money. So now they're going to resist. Nobody's going to just throw their things in and say, okay, you've amai rozi roti maar li. So that if you don't anticipate that, you're not strategizing to confront that. And therefore, it's very, very important to recognize specific interventions and strategies for what they are. And how do they, in a sense, disturb this balance of power.